In a recent Ask the Museum video, we were thinking all about pirates and whether they stole treasure. We like to think that there are lots of hoards of pirate treasure out there waiting to be discovered by following the X on a map. Unfortunately, this is more of a pirate myth than a reality. But we were wondering, what should you do if you actually found some treasure today? We chatted to our Senior Archaeologist for North Somerset, Kat Lodge, to find out all about real treasure and what you should do if you actually find some. So let's explore. When we think of treasure, most people think of a wooden chest full of gold and coins. Is this right?
I'm Kat Lodge and I am North Somerset Senior Archaeologist, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about treasure, what you do when you find it and who you need to tell. So whilst we might associate buried treasure with pirates, treasure can mean different things to different people, and it might be treasure as defined by the Treasure Act of 1996. The Treasure Act is designed to deal with finds of treasure in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, and it's an Act of Parliament which defines treasure as all coins from the same find, if there are two or more, as long as they are at least 300 years old when found. And if they contain less than 10% gold or silver, there must be at least 10 within the total find. It could be two or more prehistoric gold or silver objects in association with one another, such as an Iron Age fork, like the Clevedon talk. There might be an individual find that's not a coin, and that has to be at least 300 years old and contain at least 10% gold or silver. There's also any object, whatever it's made of, that's found in the same place as, or had been previously found together with another object that's deemed treasure. And finally, objects made substantially from gold or silver, but are less than 300 years old, that have been deliberately hidden with the intention of recovery, or whose owners or heirs are unknown.
Why would someone bury something valuable?
There's many reasons why someone would bury something valuable. In some instances, the objects may have been a form of ritual or religious offerings to gods, ancestors or spirits. Just think of how we throw coins into wishing wells for good luck today. A hoard is an archaeological term for a collection of valuable objects or artefacts, sometimes perfectly buried in the ground. Hoards of valued materials, particularly coins, are a common discovery throughout Britain and Europe. The normal interpretation for the burial of coin hoards, for example, is that they were buried for safekeeping at a time of uncertainty and would have been recovered later. But, for some reason, the person who buried it was unable to retrieve it.
Have there been any treasure hoards found near here?
In North Somerset, we do have some references to small coin hoards, and most of these are Roman in date. So we've got some found at Ilbury Camp Hill Fort on the edge of Weston, some near Congsbury, and also in the caves of Uphill. And an incredibly important non-coin hoard was discovered near Walton Castle on the edge of Clevedon sometime before 1897. This hoard comprised the remains of an Iron Age gold torque.
What should someone do if they find something that they think might be very old, valuable, or important?
It's really important if something is found not just to dig it up, as the location it's found in is very important, and its burial environment can tell us almost as much about the object as the object itself. This is what archaeologists refer to as context. It's important to record where you found the object and also the date on which you found it. And you should also ensure that you have permission to be on the land if you're field walking or metal detecting. Your first port of call should be your local finds liaison officer who works for the Portable Antiquity Scheme. The Portable Antiquity Scheme, or PAS as it's also known, is managed by the British Museum and maintains a database of the many thousands of archaeological objects that are discovered by members of the public each year. As mentioned earlier, all finders of gold and silver objects have a legal obligation to report those items under the Treasure Act 1996 in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. And finders of potential treasure in England and Wales should contact their finds liaison officer for help in reporting treasure and for further advice.
When someone finds treasure, does the finder get to keep it?
When someone finds treasure, the finder may get to keep it. But first of all, you must report it to the local coroner within 14 days of finding it. A local finds liaison officer will contact you to talk about how and where you made the find, and they'll give you a receipt. Then they'll write a report on the find. And at this point, museums can express an interest in it if it might be treasure. The coroner then holds an inquest, and you may be invited to this along with the landowner of where the treasure was found and given the opportunity to ask questions. Under the Treasure Act 1996, museums are allowed to acquire treasure for public benefit so that it can be displayed for others to see. If this happens, a reward is paid, and this is normally shared between the finder and the landowner. If the find doesn't count as treasure, then the item or items will be returned to you and the landowner will be informed.
What's your favourite treasure hoard?
My favourite treasure of all time has to be the Staffordshire Hoard. It's the largest hoard of gold and silver treasure ever found, with around 3,500 pieces. It's dated to the Anglo-Saxon period and was likely deposited in the 7th century, with the artefacts themselves having likely been manufactured in the 6th and 7th centuries. The pieces include incredibly ornate jewellery with garnet stones embedded into the metalwork, swords and a helmet. The garnet in some of the jewellery may have been sourced in Afghanistan or Sri Lanka. Any of the pieces would have formed the equipment of male warriors. A very high level of craft skills was needed to create these objects and decorate them. The pieces contain Christian and pagan symbolism, showing the influence from many different times and places. Now, the hoard was discovered by a member of a local metal detecting club in 2009. He was searching an area of recently ploughed farmland with a metal detector and found a number of gold objects. At this point, he contacted his local finds liaison officer for the Portable Antiquity scheme, and then the landowner gave permission for an excavation to search for the rest of the hoard. The Staffordshire Hoard offers us an incredible insight into parts of Anglo-Saxon society. Not many members of Anglo-Saxon society, however, had access to such valuable materials, nor skilled craftspeople to make objects like this. These hoard objects would have been the possessions of kings and princes, their royal households and warriors. I mentioned before that this gives us an insight into parts of society at that time, but the insights are only into elite male society. Nothing in the Staffordshire Hoard appears to be of a high-status female object, and certainly nothing to tell us about those who weren't as affluent. That's what the rest of the archaeological record can help with.
So whilst it's rather unlikely that you might find a chest of pirate treasure, there have been lots of discoveries of amazing historical items, some of which are now on display in Western Museum. But before you head out with a spade and a metal detector, just remember that for everyone to share these amazing finds for years to come, we all have to make sure that anything historically important is treated with care and checked by the experts. So always get permission to dig, and if you find anything that you think might be very old, valuable or important, contact someone right away. We want to say a big thank you to Kat for chatting to us today. We hope you liked this Ask the Museum video. There are many others to watch on our YouTube channel. If you'd like to learn more about the fun side of history, just follow us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. Or to find out more about Western Museum, including our learning and events programme, just head to our website, www.westernmuseum.org.